Is it even possible, or what does it take for a scene to be too graphic for the show?
They're pretty good about it, but we had a couple times where they, like, there was one last season where Alice was ripping this woman apart, and her like guts all came out, and they were like, I can't remember the note. Like we had to tone it down a little, but
she punched through the body, and you could see the silicone implants, right? And her body ripped in half, right? And I think that was.
I think we colored like
get rid of that.
It was colored very
like colorful, like bright yellow and stuff. It wasn't like red and pink.
And I think we made it more of two-tone or three-tone.
More pastel.
Before it was, everything was colored in different colors, so it looked very graphic.
The show's weird because it's like super violent, but also kind of looks cute. You know, it's bright colors. So it's a weird mix. I mean, when we're drawing it, even when it's really violent, I never feel like grossed out by it. It almost seems funny. I mean, it just seems funny and like kind of, you know, visual, like all the, you know, things splattering and moving around. It's more like, I mean, I think we're rarely like, ew, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I know it is graphic, but it's.
When I first started working on layout, I got a lot of notes back from Christy that it wasn't bloody enough, you know, like it would be some blood like this, and he'd be like, no, lots of blood, you know. So we got into that.
They rarely comment on how violent it is.
It's more like, it's like with everything, I feel like in America, everything's like sex is
bad.
More worried about that kind of thing than.
No pubic hair.
There's a lot of pubic hair we have to blur, and nipples and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
no
weird little
nipples
things you wouldn't think.
But a spleen is fun.
That's fine. That's fine.
Rip someone's spine out there. Usually though, when we get notes, I think with content too, usually when you have to change it, it usually ends up being funnier because it's usually like you find some weird creative way to either tweak it or do it different, which isn't the most obvious way. So it's like, in a way, the notes give for, like there were a couple times, I can't remember what we had to blur out, but there were a couple things and we put a big black box on it. I remember it just seemed more like, oh, what it, you know, like more dirty, like what is that? It kind of seemed funnier in the episode.
Oh, like
didn't know what it was.
Jackknife's poster or something like that, or you know, remember his like love interest?
They say censorship
Oh, yeah.
is the root of invention, right?